sound isn't even showing up, so something's not right.
Well, we could do a lip sync show. Like this.
Yeah, our microphone not even showing up.
Can you read my lips? A lot of F words in there.
You can't hear us. So you got maybe you got your
Oh, she's
audio
connecting to audio. She's connecting.
maybe you got your audio on mute or something.
Yeah, I didn't. I did that in the beginning. Can you hear me now?
We
Yeah.
can hear you.
Perfect.
Yes.
I hear you perfect.
I'm so excited. Today I saw two great videos. One was American Indians, punk rock American Indians, spirit dancing in a mosh pit.
Oh my God.
Is that cool or what?
That sounds really cool.
Oh, I just played it a second ago for Brian.
And I just watched a stomp dance this morning when I woke up. There was some, like, I don't know if they were from Israel or from some country like that, and they were doing a stomp dance in a circle, like the Cherokee. So, like, what the hell's happening then if we're both watching stomp dances?
And I have the other video I have is an all-girls choir singing Kali Ma Donna.
Oh, I'm going to try to change my thing.
I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute. I'm just grabbing my coffee.
Okay. How you been, Michael?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Kali Ma is coming back.
Kali Ma's coming back?
Well, I guess she's always been here, but it was interesting that there was an all-girls choir doing emotional release while singing to Kali Ma.
Yeah, that's the opposite of the Illuminati shit that they're doing.
To me, I was like, and a lot of people went over their head, you know, what that wasn't that they were singing, but it was cool. It was all get out. So
wow.
On my profile page.
That's cool.
Well, you get the idea. Isn't that the funnest? Isn't that the most fun thing?
Native mosh pit.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Punk rock.
Yeah.
American Indian spirit dancers. Unbelievable.
You know, all that stuff comes around. That was in my day in the 1980 when I was going to college.
Oh yeah, man. Well, people need to do emotional release work. And and if they don't, for kids, they go to punk rock and they get in a mosh pit and scream and yell and then they're also friendly. So they help each other up and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My son went to one recently. It wasn't like real punk rock or anything, but they did have a mosh pit. And he said that he just made one mistake by going in there with a drink. It lasted 1 second. Yeah. It was gone.
Yeah, I was in a mosh pit once. It was a lot of fun.
Well, if you come up here to one of my campouts, when the world gets turned upside right again, we'll have one.
A mosh pit?
Yeah. Why not?
You have to play hard rock music.
I don't care. We'll play hard rock music. We'll bump into each other. And
it has to be punk rock.
What you really do is you play
punk rock music.
You play bumper cars with your body, and you get a big crowd. Everybody bumps into each other. It's kind of fun.
I already did that one time. I was at a karaoke, and there were, well, I don't want to insult anybody, but there were a bunch of real heavy women there. Like, I don't know why. There was like a congregation of real big ladies, and I got in the middle of them somehow. And boy, that was dangerous. I got bumped around pretty good.
I guess so. Some people would enjoy that, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to escape with my life. There's a lot of crashing and banging going on there. But.
Brian, I just want to say that you inspire the hell out of me the way you have just like bounced back from your thing. And, I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, thank you. I had a lot of help.
Well, I'm certain that you did.
Yeah, I think I probably would have had. I might not even survived. I had my gang in there with me. I had practically no heart damage or little or none. Actually, yeah, it's just been over a month. I was out for a 3 hour walk in the woods yesterday, hiking around.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's just awesome. Yeah, to watch you just come back like that is really great. Really great.
yeah.
Really
Thank
good
you
to
very
see.
much.
He's
Yeah.
stinted. He's stinted now.
He's stinted now. Yeah,
Yeah, but
well,
that's no big thing. If there's no
no,
heart
it's
damage,
not.
stents are not. They're actually
I
good.
always thought you were kind of stinted.
My father had he was the first person in, I think, North Carolina to get a quadruple bypass. And he lived with those same stents for 12 or 20 years, something like that. Long
How
time.
old? So he lived in a regular life.
He started at 39. He was like the youngest one, but he passed at 65 when he was getting his stents replaced. It was a staph infection that took him. Nothing else. It was only staph infection. He was like a model patient. He was in perfect health. So it was a bad rap at the hospital. But those stents can last a long, long time.
Well, they can last a lifetime, can't they?
I'm sure they do now. When he was
Yeah.
doing it, that was 40 years ago when he did it first.
Brian had his heart valves opened up. He needed a little bit of open. Everybody needs a little open heart.
That's right.
Well, the guys who did it, the emergency room guy was taking care of me, and my doctor in the emergency room, and the guy who performed the surgery said that I'm going to live a normal life.
Well, there you go.
Because there was no damage or whatever. So,
well, good.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll be the case. I'm going to go live in a second here.
Recording. We've been recording, so we got to be careful. We got to say witty things in the green room.
Yeah, don't put that beginning stuff up in there.
What, the mosh pit stuff?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's going, shit, I have to edit something?
No, that's fine. But I thought it was pretty funny.
Whatever you want. It's your show, man.
Well, we had it going before you came on.
Okay.
We had it going before you came on.
So see, then you got me doing all my stuff where I couldn't get on, and it was hard to hear me. That's okay.
Right. But he won't. He'll cut all that. He'll cut all that out.
Okay. I
can cut it out.
I don't believe him all the time, though.
But the punk rock Indians is historic. I think that's historic.
I'm surprised you believe me any of the time. So, yeah, sorry I haven't been able to. By the way, hi everybody. Welcome aboard. Sorry I haven't been able to come on your. Tell us a little bit about your thing that you're doing.
Hi, this is a pork and bean show.
Intro.
Oh,
pork and bean show.
You want to try it? You've never really done it properly yet. Do you want to give it a shot?
Every time I do, you a little shock goes through you, like, oh God, I'm losing control from the beginning.
No, try it. Give it a shot. Try it.
Do it.
Are you going to introduce yourself?
I'm Frank Oliver Beans of the Pork and Bean Show, and I have a great guest today, Miss Cindy Carter, all the way from North Carolina. You're in North Carolina?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's a spirit communicator, a healer, and an all-around wizard, and a fantastic artist.
Where was I in that?
And a talk show host, and she got her own web channel and everything.
Who knows? We just got a lot going on, and I seem to morph like my being all the time. So sometimes I'm doing healing, sometimes I'm teaching stuff, sometimes I'm, right now, all I'm really doing is being guided by the universe and letting the universe. This is such a crucial time. I really didn't want to muddy my lifespan with what I thought had to happen to me or with me. So I've kind of left things up to the universe to guide me. And so interesting things start appearing. And I have a part-time job, and I was driving into this job. Every day I was looking at the trees and the ridge lines, and I was saying, this would be a great place for a Sasquatch to just appear. this would be a great place. This would be a great place. And I started intending to see them just on an everyday basis. And the reason I did that is because I don't have any local contacts. I have contacts all over the country and all over the world, right? That tell me their things and invite me to go where they are and help them with their things. But I'm not into travel right now, especially since pilots aren't real healthy right now. So I'm not going to be flying. So I decided, maybe something in North Carolina would be awesome. So I started intending to see Sasquatch or have Sasquatch interactions, something close by, and it happened. It just happened after about maybe 3 months or 4 months of this intending I was doing. So it happened like all of a sudden a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, I was just camping in the mountains and my phone did something weird and it butt dialed a Cindy and I thought it was you, but it wasn't you." And it was because something weird had just happened to me. And I said, "Well, what was it?" She said, "Well, I heard this radio wave and then I heard these Chinese people speaking. And then I heard footsteps that made the whole ground shake. And then the phone butt dialed you, a Cindy that I thought was you." And I was like, "Oh, that was Sasquatch." And she said, "What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And so we got off the phone and pretty soon I got a phone call from the owner of that property. And they said, "Whoa, we didn't know that we had Sasquatch on this property. We just bought it." And she's from crop circle land and swimming with dolphins. She's had huge experiences her whole life with this kind of thing. And
Oh,
so
the owner is. That's a big deal. I got chills
owner.
right now from the swimming with dolphins because that's like animal communication.
Well, she's been doing that for quite a while. She was so guided and everything. She was letting the universe guide her. And so she was all over crop circle land. She would just show up like a day before a crop circle would happen. And then she'd show up somewhere else and it would happen again over and over. So she had huge synchronicities. Well, when she came to North Carolina, she loved the land out here. It's just gorgeous and thick and lush. And she said, I'm supposed to buy property. I'm being guided to buy property, but I don't think I'm supposed to build on it. So she just looked for property that she could just purchase, just maybe to go camping at or whatever. She didn't know, but Spirit kept telling her this was going to be her next adventure.
Wow.
So she's like, shit, now she's finding out. She's on the phone with me going, "You mean my next adventure is Sasquatch?" So she's been pretty amazed. This has been about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks or so since this has happened. So we're just now getting into it. Well, it's come down to, they want me to make a 3-season, 4-season camp up there and hang out and be there where the Sasquatch are.
Whoa, that's all kind of fun. I saw a picture of the area and I saw
Yeah.
your little 4-track or 4-wheeler.
My little ATV that I'm on.
That's like astounding. Are
It's
you
a big one, yeah.
Are you going to take her up on it and be?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've already started. I've been up there 3 times so far. It's a couple hours away, but that's close to me, and it's up here in the mountains of North Carolina, and the property's super steep. So you kind of come in at one level, and then it's a logging road up to another level, and a logging road up to another level, and then the mountain goes straight up. Well, we had signs from the very first day we were there. That looked like triangles right along the path, and there would be an X under it. So that was telling me that they're showing us where they are, which is at the very top of the mountain, which would take hours and hours of hiking up very steep land to get to, which none of us really want to do. But there is there are a few trails up there because it's part of the national forest.
Is there any water down at the bottom? Is there any water?
We've got
around?
two creeks that come down, and that's
where they're going to be like within walking distance of the creeks. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. So I can get my ATV up to a place where I can hike up another 20 minutes. I have a torn meniscus, so it's a challenge. That's why I got the ATV to begin with. a friend of mine let me borrow it. So we trailered it up there last week. And when we got up there, the day we trailered it, we smelled them in 5 locations, and we'd only smelled them in two locations prior to that. So we get up to the waterfall. There's a waterfall up there. It's just gorgeous. I'll be showing video of that tomorrow on my show called Sasquatch Friends, which is on YouTube. And you can just look up Sasquatch Friends or look up Cindy Solene Carter. Maybe we'll put a link somewhere. But anyway, that's how you'll get to it. I'm just going to do these every week or so for now, maybe sooner. But I put together little video clips of what's happening up there. We went up to the waterfall. We were hiking up, and there were 4 of us, 5 of us actually. And we sat in the water with our feet in the water. And we were getting up to leave. And the owner looked on the bank of the water and said, "Holy cow, that's kind of a huge footprint." And I'm like, "What?" I saw it from one angle. She saw it from another. So she thought the toe box was the footprint. But that was only this part. It was going down. It was 16 inches by 8 inches. It was a huge footprint, and it was just one footprint put right there on the side of the bank. And she said she had seen it before we got there because she only saw the toe box. So we missed it. We weren't even looking for stuff like that, like, so it's kind of interesting because I just want to go up there and commune with the property. But like a bonus is that there's Sasquatch there. So this is all new for them.
I'm so glad to hear that you've already made an introduction. Yeah. I mean, if they're leaving you a footprint, they left that's for you, for that day.
Yeah, I just had a hummingbird come to the window just now. Like, okay.
You know what happened to me today? What happened to me today is there's this family of Australia. They call them some kind of Australian cranes. So they're like a little gray crane. Mm-hmm. And then so the 2 eggs hatched, and then they grew up, and so they're just starting to fly. And I had 2 of them on my fence. So I'm out smoking a cigarette and looking at these 2 young cranes and the mother flying around. It was just a magic for me to have a family. These things aren't even supposed to be in the United States, but it was amazing. So any of these kind of things are really, really fantastic.
Well, and that's kind of my connection, is because I've have a past with being in the woods with a shaman and learning about the woods. I spent 4 years learning everything I could. And I was actually just tempering my aura down to the earth's resonance. And it took a while, this was right after I woke up. So I have a real affinity to being in the woods and being with nature. And so,
I got a question. When you were doing that in the woods a lot, did you, because I used to live in Ireland. When I'd go there for the summers, right? And it's talk about quiet. We lived up in a far back in place, means you had to go through somebody else's property to get to our property. It was up on a hill. But but I noticed when I was there for like a month or so that songs and TV commercials would just come out of my head. It's just flowing out. It's that, because there's nothing there. It's just everything sort of empties.
Well,
did you get it? Did you get that?
Actually, when this has happened to me on many occasions. So when your resonance is taken down to take a singularity, like you're in a single mode of peace, and there's no outside infiltration, and you've tempered yourself enough where that aura can just be, in and out naturally. What you can do is you'll actually be taking information off part of the grid. So you can hear radio waves, and you can pick up, elements from towers, even if it's, hours and hours away. Unless you're in a deep space area that doesn't have any Wi-Fi or at all, even then you can still get radio waves. And I know this for a fact because I was living in British Columbia for a while, in Kelowna, and I had 3 or 4 radio waves going across my condo, and I could feel them, and it was very discordant, and I was getting ill. So I had an EMF expert come in, and he, scanned the area, and he actually sent that scanner into one of the waves, and it picked up Michael Jackson's Thriller.
What?
And that was it. I was hearing that radio wave at night because I could pick it up. So I was hearing song, I was hearing commercials, so it wasn't coming from me. I was just tuning into it on another space. So this was like interdimensional, because, time and space doesn't really exist in nature, in interdimensional spaces.
No.
So, it does make everything become kind of wonky. So, that's what's happened here with this idea of getting Sasquatch near me. My intention being that, and then when I go up there that day that we see the footprint, my intention was that hopefully my friends would see why I'm so excited about this. Like hopefully they can smell them or see them or like any kind of thing just for my friends. It wasn't even for me, just so that they could see why I'm so excited about this.
Let me ask you about that single footprint. You only saw one, right?
Only one, yeah.
That's very, very common. Do you think that that was just because they just want to introduce themselves?
And, you have to look at the land, of course, where it is located, and would the second footprint have made another print where it had landed?
Of course.
And it was wet everywhere. So there was rock, little pebbles all over that would have been indented on the second step, even if it was 10 feet further, there would have been some indentation. So yeah, that's why I felt it was projected there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I've seen trackways, but also on many occasions I've just seen one single footprint, and it's kind of like, hello, we're here, or some, just
and that happens a lot. Don't y'all have a lot of people tell you that?
Well, I've experienced it a lot, and yeah, of course, yeah, other people as well.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I guess it's too late for a proper introduction. That's the last time I'll ever let you do the introduction. You didn't even mention me.
Oh, you just come along with the package, Brian.
You see what I'm saying? If you feel that cringe, he cringed. I could see it.
No, but we have a little, little routine.
You have a little pork and beans thingy.
Yeah, a little pork, but it's
pork and beans show.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just kind of teasing. So I heard you. You said when you awoke. Yeah. So describe that. And also, did you have gifts and whatever? I mean, because you've got some gifts. Did you have those before, or was
I was always an intuitive kid. I would say I was highly intuitive. I could read the minds of the teachers, like, and they could read mine sometimes. So I knew that's all I knew. I knew I was different, and I really wasn't from here. Nothing kind of resonated with me in this life.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
me
nothing.
Too, yeah.
Nothing. So I just lived the white picket fence program that was projected onto me. Right. And so I did the proper thing and had the proper amount of children, the proper amount of animals, belonged to the proper country club, did the proper things in business, did the proper philanthropy through the community. Right. I was living that. And then all of a sudden it became very burdensome. It became taxing to my energy system. I was absolutely overwhelmed with life. I started disliking my situation so much that I did not see a way out. Now, I was normally a very positive person. And most people that knew me even then, because I was building charter schools for people and, doing big community projects, thought I was having the perfect life. Well, I really wasn't. And I owned several businesses that were taking all my energy away. So what I did was I started thinking of like, how could I make this better? Well, there really wasn't an answer. I think I was dying. I went to bed to sleep on my birthday, April Fool's Day in 2007. And I woke up a completely different person. I was in a lot of pain, physical pain and mental pain, emotional pain. But when I woke up, it was almost like the bliss state was flowing through me. I was smiling, I was happy, and there was no pain in my body. At that point, I'd had, slipped discs, bulging discs, broken stuff, just torn all kinds of stuff in my body from sports. I was an athlete as a kid and as an adult. So I woke up and said, oh my God, what's happening? Like, I didn't recognize my kids. I went to the kitchen and asked my husband what we were doing. And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, what are we doing? He goes, I don't know. And I said, well, do we have to do it anymore? And he goes, are you asking me for a divorce? And I said, yeah, I think I am. And he goes, okay. We knew we were dysfunctional, right? And so now we're good friends. But I had to leave a marriage. I had to close of several businesses because I knew it was not in accordance with what my soul wanted for me. And my family and my employees and my colleagues had no idea what the hell was happening to me. All they knew was I was off the chart happy. And so I, went on my way. Within, I think, 3 weeks or something, a shaman came to me. And I didn't know what a shaman was or even cared. I was in the minivan soccer mom situation. I wasn't looking at spiritual stuff. I had no spirituality at all, zero. I had no religion at all, zero. Luckily, my parents never made me do that. And so I started attracting people that would teach me what the hell was happening. And I didn't even know it, but they would be humans that would come to me and tell me like, oh, well, I'm totally into this. It's like, what? You're into what? The power of now? What the hell is that? I've never known a now moment in my life. I was a multitasking maniac. And to be taught a now moment. So the shaman taught me a now moment. Some other spiritual teachers taught me that. Some other teacher came and taught me meditation. And then I was on this huge fast track. And I just remember being on Blog Talk Radio at the time, just listening for anyone that could tell me what the hell had just happened to me. Like, I didn't know what a walk-in was. I didn't know what anything was. And I listened to this one lady talking about interdimensionality and multidimensionality and the octaves and all that. I was like, what? That's what I want. And so I stuck with her long enough to find her mentor, who was in Kelowna, who was a time traveler. So that was where the bulk of my information came from. But that was a span of maybe 3-4 years. So right after the shaman, I did a few other things and then ended up with the time traveler. For
most of these people just came to you, right? Or
I
you
didn't
just connected. You just connected to them without asking you, whatever. Yeah,
I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah,
I was letting the universe work with me.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever done that, because I was a realtor at the time. And I remember being in the back seat, when you're perusing houses with a bunch of realtors, I remember being in the back seat going, well, if it is to be, it is by me. And the lady in the front seat said, well, how's that working for you? And at the time, nothing was working for me.
Isn't it amazing just how the synchronicity of the people that come into your life when you're on this journey, whatever? It's just like you just.
I think that means more to me than me planning or intending or manifesting anything.
Yeah,
I think that's more important to me.
That's un-American.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't fit the white picket fence program.
So how did your friends
strive and struggle?
How did your friends who saw that you were happy, how did they react? Were some of them supportive, or were they like, oh, she got real weird or something? Or
I got weird on them. I went weirdo. I went weird on all of them. Yeah.
So they kind of
not real fast. Yeah, it didn't happen real fast, but they could see that wow, you mean you don't want to come drink with us at the cocktail lounge? Why aren't you coming drinking with us at the cocktail lounge? All the realtors would meet, and have these parties. And it's like, no, I didn't enjoy the parties before that, but I was a really good drinker. I owned a restaurant and bar. I owned a restaurant and bar. I mean, and so it was just that some of them stayed with me because they were true friends, right? That didn't care that I changed. Others couldn't handle the change. And I became like a subject of their inquisitiveness instead of a true friendship. Yeah. And those I have had to let go.
So you were really successful, obviously, and then you gave all that up basically just for your journey, right? And you're much happier for it.
Well, and I was much happier, and well, things got taken away from me. I sold my real estate business to stay in Kelowna with the time traveler because I thought that there was going to be huge. I was going to be their business partner in all the healing inventions that he could create. He could go to the future, bring back inventions, build them in front of me and use them in front of someone or on someone and then heal them. Miraculous light and sound and energy.
Was this the same person who was your shaman?
No, that's
something different.
Yeah, it was a female shaman for 4 years. And then this guy was a time traveler, kind of a galactic time traveler. So he was.
Can you give us some?
This whole thing's like mind blowing. It's like a hero's journey. One of the big things that happens on the hero's journey is, you have the fall, right? And then after the fall, then you meet the wise woman. You meet some woman, or so usually it's a woman figure who establishes your transformation and gives you the foundation for your blossoming into the new empowered, and gives you your strength back and your power and grounds you and all that kind of stuff. That's like classic, shamanic journey and hero's journey. And now you're talking about another guy who's like that. Is he the guy who taught you how to open up portals and stuff?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was doing that on my own and didn't know what the hell I was doing. And he told me what I was doing. Yeah. I was when I was with the shaman, we spent, as much time as we could in the woods in nature. And we would know sweet spots. We would know energetically what a sweet spot was. And we had no intention there, but just to go and enjoy the sweet spot, right? Enjoy the nature. There was no outside infiltration from my brain there. Well, people started contacting me and asking me to go to sacred sites. And I would go there and I would pick up, like, holy shit, whatever that was death, like over here is life and whatever is happening over here is death. So I would get that. Well, my body wouldn't go to the loving place. It would go to the dark place. I'm like, why am I hiking over here? Why am I hiking over here? Well, okay, whatever, just enjoy yourself. So I started just going to these sacred sites that were very dark places. Now, if you lived in Ireland, I was with an Irish professor for a few years who did tours of Ireland, and he was so proud of all his materials about his tours and showed me several of those portals. And I knew exactly which ones were death portals just from the photos. So I had this affinity to like land and what was happening there. So it got to the point where I started going, well, the time traveler had me go to a place here in the United States through GPS coordinates, and he was going to study it through radionics units. So he had a radionics unit. He was going to study the vibration of that area before I got there, let me do my thing, whatever that was, and then study it afterwards to see what the vibration change was. Well, it took me about 4.5 months, I guess, of hiking this place and going there often. And it was very subversive because I was being followed by government vehicles when I would do this.
Well, so that's because they were following him first, right?
They were following him first.
I had no idea. Somebody time jump. Those guys know about time jumps.
He was on the mark. He was on the mark, but I thought he was on the mark only because he was bringing back healing devices and doing good work.
Could have been too, yeah.
Well, that's what he was doing on one level, but on the other level, he was playing with 3-letter agencies on the other. So I didn't know that part, right? I just thought he was doing the good work. And I was kind of fearless at that point. And I was like, I don't care if government vehicles are following me. I'll do my thing. So it was actually the place he sent me was a compassion portal. And I understand compassion teachings very well. They just resonate with me. I understand them like to the hilt. Not only did humans come to me, but deities came for years. And I wouldn't know what a deity was until one showed up in my damn kitchen. And like, like, and there were some Catholic ones that came and they would tell me the true story of why they were called the martyr king, the martyr or St. Peter, whoever it was. It was like, wow, I was piecing all this together. But the time traveler was the one who got me on the mark with the agencies. So at the compassion portal, I did my thing. Really what I felt I was doing, because I had to start asking myself, why are they studying this? What is it about me they need to study about me being here? What am I doing on this mountaintop anyway? All I was doing was kind of like meditating, but really I had to figure it out. What I was doing was meeting myself in the other dimensions.
Wow.
Because I wasn't asking for other dimensions to meet me. I wasn't like, I didn't want any galactic visitors. I was done with all the deities. Please don't visit me anymore. I kind of done with all that. So I was really about like, who am I meeting? I think I'm meeting my higher version of myself here. Now, is that a galactic version? What octave is that? Is it a cosmic, version? What octave is that? Or is this an earthly version or an inner earthly version? So there was all these different versions of me, depending on where I went. So I didn't find out like where I was going and why it was so important until the first day I went. And it was the GPS coordinates had put me in a place on the map, but I didn't see exactly where I was till I got there. It was directly around the Billy Graham Center.
What?
The Billy Graham Center. They had built the Billy Graham Center around the compassion portal. And this was in an area around here. And it was in the 1900s, they had named these streets Rainbow Way, Rainbow this and that. So there was a portal there. And they built that school for the evangelical mind control there. And so that's why they didn't want me there. That's where I met my first Apache helicopter that had a microwave pulsing dew weapon that they used on me. So
I'm interested in the fact that you said you were opening portals before you realized it. Because I was kind of I didn't have any knowledge of healing, and I was kind of doing that instinctively or whatever. Now, why is that? Okay, ask me. Yeah.
No, were you going to dense places or sweet spots? Do you remember?
No, I was just doing it with people and whatever, and I wasn't natural, but I just instinctively knew what I was doing. And I'm wondering, is that from a past life thing, like a subconscious memory, or what do you think it is? Because I was interested when you said you were doing the portal work before you realized what you were doing. So why is that? Why is that?
I think you just hit on it. I think you just hit on it. There's a familiarity to it, right? You've been there and done that. It just came so natural. Why does this come natural? So I was a natural athlete. It's because it was in my genes, right? I had parents that were natural athletes, but it was like I had past life as an athlete. It just came too natural for me to be able to do this. Same thing with other things, just becomes real natural. I think that, Brian, you probably ended up doing these kind of things in another life. We've had how many versions of Earth have we had? And how many times have we lived here?
My friend Jenny said she's had 7,200,000 lifetimes. And
it has to be, because it's not because I was doing amazing stuff like right the very first time I tried it. So I must have had some pre-knowledge, just like you did, right?
Yeah. And same thing with hypnotherapy. The first time we did hypnotherapy with the time traveler, I picked it up so fast I could get into the cadence and I knew exactly what to say. Well, how does that happen?
Exactly right.
It's because we're stepping aside from the Cindy's or the Brian's or the Michaels, version of things, and we're understanding ourselves on a much deeper or higher level, higher vibrating level. It's not that we have to remain higher vibrating, because I have issues with that whole thought process. But the portals are so important on Earth. If we look at the Earth, like the aura and the chakra system, we have many more chakras on our body than we're told. You got chakras on your hands and on your fingertips. There's everywhere, right? And so think about the Earth.
Reiki would be out of business without these guys.
That's right. And think about the portals that have been overlaid by Masonic temples, by satanic ley lines. So what we're doing by connecting with a portal is you're bringing a higher vibration. If you can get out of your own damn head and out of your own way and just kind of be yourself in this thing, in this place, then the energy that you're bringing could be a cosmic version of yourself so high that you're bringing cosmic energy in to this portal. Or your galactic version of you resonates so strongly with this Earth place that you're bringing the galactic portion of you through this body, and it vibrates the galactic portion of you. And that would be a galactic portal. So after 3.5 years, they took me on a portal tour, and he like talked to me about it for days and months and months, and talked about it with the whole group. But I was the only one going, and I didn't know why. I just knew that I was being it was almost like a triathlon, because they were trying to get me through heavy meditation and vibration to get the highest physical, mental, emotional value I could before I went to these places, so we could have the best outcome. Well, we drove all over Canada. We went to Lake Louise, and we went to 3 or 4 places above there. We went to Pyramid Lake. There was one on Lake Okanagan, but all those portals were different: inner Earth, earthly, cosmic or galactic, and then cosmic. And so something different would happen in each one of those. I talked recently in one of my shows about the guardians that are at the portals, because there are guardians at all portals. And that can be a dove, a turtle, or where you can get more intense versions of that portal that are very open, and then the guardian becomes stronger, as according to how open that is. So
like dog man, or they're famous
like the
for
dog
being
man
associated with portals
Yep.
to the underworld.
Are gatekeepers the same thing? Like gatekeepers
same
of
thing.
dimensions? The same
Yep.
thing?
Same thing. And so you'll know when you're going in the woods and you're walking a trail, or you're just walking, and all of a sudden you go, whoa, right here. You could feel it almost like a frequency fence change. And it's like you're deciding, should I go or should I stay, or what's happening? It's not that you just reach this sweet spot. It's like, this is the gate. This is the gate. I'm supposed to ask permission here. Usually you'll find, and this is in North America, I'm not sure. Well, now I didn't do much Sasquatch stuff. I didn't do any Sasquatch stuff in Canada. So, but here.
Oh, you missed out.
Yeah. Well, I know, because that's where they are. I was all around.
We got a lot of Sasquatch.
Yeah, but a Sasquatch, if you're being taught, if you're learning, they'll leave you alone, because they respect learning. They'll let you go through what you got to go through.
I wasn't ready for that. I don't think I was ready for that, because I had.
Can we back up for just a minute? Yeah. Because when you were talking about your higher self, your divine self, your cosmic self, to me, this is a really critical thing that humans need to know right around now, and that is that when we're coming to this world, into this milquetoast matrix that we got, we're told that we're a one person, an individual person, a separate, exclusive, nothing else. But that, that exclusive person, it's only what I call monophrenic, right? They're monophrenic, and then that doesn't work for you. So your mind splits. There's like a little kid playing, and there's an adult, and there's all these different roles you got to play. So then you become schizophrenic, which is not a good way of going. Yeah. But the idea is that you cannot be the king of your kingdom in heaven until you have to create a kingdom of heaven, and the kingdom of heaven is populated by aspects of yourself. And then you become polyphrenic. What you were describing is becoming polyphrenic. There's me now, there's me who knows this, and there's me in another realm that does that. That's being polyphrenic. And polyphrenic is the step you need to take in order to become omniphrenic. And omniphrenic is what it means by all one. Mm-hmm. And that's what Christ was talking about. I and my Father are one, I and my brother are one. So this is a real critical thing to have that understanding that we are multidimensional, and we have parallel timelines, and that there's aspects of ourselves spread around, and higher selves and divine selves, and there's a void self that just doesn't recognize any labels at all. Yeah. So I'm so glad you brought that up. But
it's super important.
How important it is.
It's super important right now, since people are losing themselves.
They don't have their kingdom of heaven.
They have nothing, because they've lived off the idea of who they are through the grid, through the public opinion, or through a societal influence. So here we are now understanding that we are not society influence, that we are a creator in our own right. And so that means you got to get to know yourself on all these other dimensions. Well, the issue that a lot of people have with this is fascination, because you then become fascinated with who you were in a galactic realm, who you were as the cosmic being, or just the consciousness of that, right? Oh my God, I have the proclivity to do this, so I should do that. Like, oh, I had like if somebody's walking around without shoes because they think they're Jesus. Well, you're not Jesus. But maybe you lived a life near Jesus, you understand the Jesus consciousness, and maybe you need to integrate that consciousness into the Cindy body. Yeah. So this is where people are misunderstanding multidimensionality. It's like we can't split ourselves continually, because that is not what cellular proliferation in life is about. We're about, cellular proliferation is about aligning all of life in one idea, which is life. So if you've had realms in the galactics where death was your cycle, or death was your attribute, or death was your goal, which a lot of us had, that has to be squelched in you to remain in life. So these are portions of our dimensions that we have to either let go of, distance ourselves from, or integrate. So I look at it as like an auditorium would be filled with all the versions of you. Mm-hmm. But really, you only want to bring up on stage the ones you want to operate this body. So I'm going to bring the kindest, most compassionate, most understanding. There might be a naysayer in there, because we need that sometimes. We might need an expert or two, doctor, lawyer, but it's got to be through one voice. So now I'm having to integrate all the dimensions of me into one voice, one idea, one walk.
And that's the population of the kingdom of heaven. And once you have that, then you protect it. You don't let outside stuff come in. You don't let petty stuff come in, or demons, dragons, and any kind of stuff. That stuff is just automatically repelled. You have boundaries, and it's this formation of self-governments and boundaries inside our physical body. That is what's going to create the new government, because we cannot create a new government, because we are, our matrix reality now is that we're individual, isolated, alone, powerless, fruitless, and that we're basically the sheep and straw man and all. there's no way you can go from that straw man mentality to create a new government.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way because we are in the same mindset as as what's been imprinted, our conditioning. So, all these people thinking about they're going to start a new government. The new government going to come from the inside out, from how we treat our aspects of self. How do we treat ourselves? How do we treat our inner child? How do we treat our hearts? How do we treat this physical body? And how do we allow this physical body to function into this Mother Nature? Yeah.
So
that's going to be the formation of the government, because the government is a direct reflection of the collective consciousness of humanity. And if it's a mess out there, it's because it's collectively a mess in here.
Absolutely, 100%. That's no doubt about that. So do you think, we're all connected and all one anyway. So it's kind of I don't know if this question even makes sense, because that would, the answer would be yes, but do you think that our guides, our teachers, are in many cases are aspects of our higher self?
Well, it better be.
Yeah.
Being influenced by outside energies. And this is part of what I became a specialist at, was energy infiltration. And so that would be demons, ideas, contracts, agreements that were imposed on you, either knowingly or unknowingly imposed on you, either through this lifetime, another lifetime.
Or you're forced to conclude them. Like, I'm not good enough is a forced conclusion that you make from having adversity.
Yes.
That's a forced conclusion. But it also becomes, like you say, a contract and a life script.
Yeah. And those scripts have to fall away.
Which is this negative energy that's completely not you.
Yeah. And those scripts have got to fall away now, where we understand we aren't the script, and that we are here as a sovereign living being in our own right. We are connected to others, but compassion to me brings the energy of higher self, the energy of a life's soul's path, only mine. It's only mine. I cannot share that with others. This is the path that my soul chose, and it's unique, like a snowflake, but I can be part of a snowstorm, right? That has the same intention of burying whatever it is in snow. We can all hang out on the ground in our own respective places as our different snowflakes. Yeah. We still make a storm.
Yeah. So who is that? We all have, and as we're growing or whatever, we're listening less and less to that, but who's that little guy on your shoulder who's telling you, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do that, you'll never make it, is always discouraging you from becoming better?
You can usually, when in hypnotherapy, you can usually bring someone to that little voice and just ask them in their subconscious mind, who gave you that idea? And there will usually be a person's name: my mother, my father, my grandfather.
So it's associated with relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you kill them. Oh no, did I say that out loud?
I don't think so.
You get a spiritual Uzi out.
No, what I meant to say by that is that inside us there's an imprint, and the imprint comes with sounds and words, and it also comes with a visualization. Now this is a memory, like a little movie inside of us, and every time that movie plays, we feel bad, we feel discouraged, we feel ashamed, we feel guilty, whatever it is, right? Because of this movie that's playing of the event that happened when we were a child. Now, if you take that and you start screaming at the image that is inside you, at your memory, until you can kill that image. And then if you can kill that image, I hate you, I'm going to kill you. If you can kill that image, then you can keep going and kill the people who supported that image, like the grandparents and the great-grandparents and society and the church. You kill them. And then after you kill them, you go out and you can kill the whole world that they created inside of you. You kill that world. And then you take it one step further and you kill the demigod, the lower lord, the demon god that created the world of pain and suffering inside of you. And that's what Kali is all about, is killing your inner demons. And once you kill them, then to your emotional body, inside your body, it's dead. It's finished. It's this end of the hero's journey. That's the killing of the dragon, right? And then you get the gold, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. So in a way, you really gotta, these things are not just these little petty words that people speak. They have this energy of a demonic life destroying. I'll give you an example. If you have this conclusion, I'm not allowed love, that's your conclusion. You just screwed the pooch. That means your dog can't love you, God can't love you, your wife or kids can't love you, nobody love you, you can't love yourself. If there was ever a demonic statement in the world, it would be that. And who needs that? And you carry that around. You carry the demons around inside of us, and we think that they are us, and they are not.
No, and it just takes the conscious mind to do this. And so what you're talking about is actually becoming conscious to the fact that you have something that is dark within you. And when you have consciousness about it, and then you don't ignore it, and you don't spiritually bypass it into love and light and uplift it. No, we're not going to uplift it. What we're going to do is, I call it cutting it, like an editing room, because it's a movie. I cut that whole part of the movie out, and it's on the editing room floor. I made that conscious decision not to have it in my movie. And so I'm not killing this stuff.
The end of the story. The end of the story is the elimination, the blocking, the killing, the some people they burn their stuff. And that's the end of that story. And the story never ends until you end it.
But it has to be done emotionally, physically, mentally,
and with great presence.
Great presence. And if you don't do that in the now moment, you're just doing the fluff. Like, oh, if I just go do this, it'll never come back. This is part of the spiritual bypass.
Well, I can't kill them because they're my parents. They can't kill them because, my husband, he used to beat me every day, but, I love him. So I can't. No, you got to.
You can leave all the love,
cut that stuff.
But kill the consciousness that was created to give you, I call them epigenetic gifts. Because these things that were given to you by family, by your past life, by your grandma's grandma, because how many lifetimes does it go? 7, whatever lifetimes. And so this lifetime, you've now taken on the energy of, death or hate or demise in some way. It lives in your cellular body. And when I'm doing energy healing with someone and I feel it right here. What is that? Well, it could be a dragon, based in your Catholic idea of something that was embedded in you, or it could be the fear of dogs that your great grandmother embedded in you, or it could be the shame that you felt as a child, but that you squelched it down, and now it's living in your liver. So when I turn around,
it's living in your liver, or in your kidneys, or in your bones, or your arthritis, or your
in your pinky finger. It just doesn't matter. It's a cellular activity. And so we have to decide if we've been given, I call them gifts. You want to, call them something else, but I call them gifts because it was gifted to me. Like sometimes, you get a gift and you don't really like the gift, but you got it anyway. Sometimes you got to hang it on the wall when the person comes over, but it's like, shit. What do I do with this gift? Well, now we have this full understanding that we are the operator of this body. I get to consciously choose. That gift is not mine. That gift was never mine. And whoever embedded that gift in my brain or in my emotional body or in my physical body, I'm renouncing. In however way you got to renounce it.
It's about elimination, right? So we take in food and then we eliminate it. If we didn't eliminate it, you're going to get toxic real quick.
That's right.
We take in water and drinks, whatever we drink, right? And that goes through our body, and then we eliminate it. And if you don't eliminate it, you're going to have problems real quick. Okay,
Well, and this is where
you need to have elimination. But when we take in words with evil intent, adversity, shaming and blaming and judging and creating the stuff, when we take in those, we don't think of that as something you have to eliminate. You have to eliminate that stuff, somehow get it out and make it clear that this is not my body, this is not my energy, and release it.
Yeah. And so energy release or trauma release was my specialty. It can be done in lots of different ways, but I didn't hardly ever find one that was compassionate to the person involved. There were therapies that lasted months, bringing people through their childhood pain or even through the womb for a solid month. And I watched these people become nothing in their minds and in their emotional field because they're reliving all the bullshit. And there's no reason to relive the bullshit. You just need to know it's bullshit. And then it's time to be out of your life. How are you going to do that? Well, I'm the victim of it. I can't do anything. No.
The whole
You're the
point
one that
is
can do everything.
The whole point is to stop the story. As long as you have the story, you're going to have to you'll relive the event. And what there's no point in reliving. All you have to do is get enough of the feeling to be angry enough to release it, to get rid of it, to clean house, to evict.
Do a good haka dance. Yeah. I mean, that when I'm angry or upset or pissed off or somebody has wrangled me or I've just come up on a demon that just really kind of, whatever, and I couldn't walk away from it. But it came over me one day. I was in my living room doing a haka dance. I couldn't believe that, like if anybody had seen that, it was ridiculous, crazy. But the way I felt afterwards was just the same way I had a shaman friend. I rescued a man from third-degree burns during an emergency at a restaurant, and 45 people in the restaurant became still, and I was the only one able to do anything. So I was saving this guy from these third-degree burns, and I couldn't get over the images in my head the next day. So I went to a shaman friend. He put me in a river and beat me with an eagle wing. And that got it out of me because I burst out crying and the emotion finally left me. The images finally left me. But I knew enough to not say, oh, well, I'm so super powered. I can be there for this person. But I had residual energy from it. And I had to be smart and go clear myself.
That what you just described right there is the number one reason why psychotherapy and life coaching has the highest suicide rate, because they go week after week, month after month. Sometimes they have 20 clients in a week, and all they hear is these horror stories, and they have to feel compassion for those horror stories, and they have to carry them home and think about them. And to me, that's like the most shitty form of lifestyle that they could possibly imagine. If you're going to do healing work with people, you better put it in a place where you don't take on that energy. Yeah. You can still be beneficial and compassionate and all that kind of stuff, but don't take in the story. You don't need the story. There's a person suffering. They know the story. They're living the story. You don't need to know that story.
That's why I don't have any healing clients, because I don't want to hear their stories. I just want to get it done. And what do you want to do about it now is really where, like, if you can't say that in the first 10 minutes of a conversation, what do you want to do now? That's they're in fascination. It may take people years to get out of fascination. I had some very interesting things happening to me with 3-letter agencies, with interdimensionality, with magic, with black magic, with energy weaponry. Those are not things that I want to ever repeat, right? But I had to learn about them so I could deal with people.
Tell us about energy weaponry. What was your experience with that? What is that? Well, I know what it is, but I mean, how did you experience it? What was
the first one was when I was opening the compassion portal, and about 3.5 months in. You walk like 45 minutes up the side of this mountain, and you can't see into the valley or anything. there was a window where we stop and look out, the first place you look out. Well, this was a valley. You would have heard, in the valley, you can hear a dog bark miles away. You can hear a lawnmower miles away in a valley. Well, this helicopter came out of absolutely nowhere. It was an Apache helicopter with a man hanging out the side. He had big goggles on. I could see his eyes. He was that close. And he had a round microwave weapon, pointed at me. And it was an interdimensional space where time kind of stands still. And I ducked, and it went kind of grazed my head, and my head was like on fire. I had one other person with me, and she's a healer. And I said, get down here. She was way up the trail. I said, get down here and put your hands on my head. Put your hands on my head. I just needed her hands on my head to dissipate that. And so I laid on the ground for a minute, and that helicopter was gone in just seconds, right? Couldn't hear it leave, didn't hear it come. How is that? It's called an interdimensional doorway that the military uses with their equipment when they have to. They're not going to wait for somebody to get in their plane or in their helicopter at Fort Bragg. They get in a jump room. So that was the first weapon. Then it happened maybe 7, 10 more times over the next few years.
To me, like, why would you be the target? Because you had some of the 3-letter agency people who wanted you to investigate it because it was like the coolest thing there ever was. And then you had these other guys who absolutely wanted you to get away. What was the story about that?
Okay, well, the story was that this time traveler sold we don't want to get too deep because you don't want this thing cut off. You don't want to. He sold my frequencies to the dark people.
The time traveler did.
Yeah.
He betrayed you
in a major way.
Wow.
He left. I left my body 3 times in his care. And they were trying to bring me out of my body to record it because I have an immortal nature. If I came into the body with a higher version of me during that wake up, that's what they were trying to recreate in me over and over so that they could study the frequencies. So once he had all the frequencies of all my emotional states, of all my high magic I could do, all the low magic I could do, all the whatever that could happen interdimensionally, then the portal tour was the culmination of that. That's where they proved it to the outside agencies, which were off planet and on planet. Because I saw Men in Black, I saw ships at 2 of the portals. We saw ships.
And people wonder why Sasquatch hide.
Yeah. Because
they're on that level, and they have been for a long time.
That's evil stuff. And so I thought really I was just there because the time traveler was making the greatest healing devices, and they don't, the USDA and everybody else doesn't.
And he was a lying sack of shit, wasn't he?
Well, no, actually, he was doing that. He was actually making these things and healing people.
And where are they now?
But what happened was they were not purchasing these healing devices from him. He wanted them to purchase them for mass consumption, right? The white hats or whoever. And that wasn't going to happen because they can't let that happen.
He sounds like he was partly good because that part sounds good.
He actually was.
But so he
sold out. He sold out to the dark hats, yeah. Because he couldn't sell any of his stuff. So what the agreement was, there was an agreement. You do the portal tour. You'd prove to us what she can do, whatever. Give us her frequencies for the cloning facilities because they're looking for the immortal gene. He found it. And so here we're going to just go ahead and let you put away all of your healing equipment. Put it in a locker. That's our agreement.
Okay, what is the immortal gene? You've piqued my interest on that.
The God particle. The God particle.
And do we all have that?
Everyone, every single person. But
yeah,
unless
of course,
not everybody is immortal because everybody has access to a God particle because you are part of source. We are all part of source.
Yeah.
But the hybridization process creates almost like you can't get to it through all the caca. So there's not much source in some people. Those people would be called zombies.
And that's what they want us to be like, right? They don't want us to get to it.
Right. But there is like an immortal bloodline. Apparently, I had a bloodline deal. I never wanted to like concrete understand all this stuff because I don't really care. I think it had to do with having copper bloodline. And I have a high degree of copper in my body, and so did my family. One of my grandfathers lived in Copper Hill, Tennessee. There was just something going on with that. Not sure what.
Yeah.
But now, now you're friends and buddies with the Sasquatch people, which I think is a a really good fit.
Yeah.
A really good fit.
So
well, it's grounding. Here's why, because I kept saying after all the deities came, like over and over and over, I shut the deity door. I was like, we're done. I want everything on an earthly level now. I'm done with that. So I spent 3 years with not a lot of activity because of that decision. And what came next was my helping that family in North Carolina with their Sasquatch.
Which we want to
so
hear
you
about.
said it was the finish. That's what I was getting back to with the Sasquatch leaving you alone to go through your karmic unfoldment. But then when you said it was done and all of a sudden they show up, that's pretty good timing.
I think some of the quiet times too, like that you experience, or simulation periods, at least for me personally, I have extreme periods of activity and then nothing. And it's, I think because I'm assimilating everything.
Yeah,
and then when I come out of it, it's like, wow, it's a bigger understanding, and it's a whole new level of teaching and stuff like that. So, I mean, I have my own teachings with Sasquatch, you know, but what are they teaching you? What have they shared with you as far as teaching or?
You know, I've had kind of interesting teachings because they were in the beginning, when I had that first interaction with that family, it was like I was involved in a Sasquatch court. You know, it felt like court. It felt like I was talking to a council, and I was in pure reverence to this council. I didn't understand it. You know, it wasn't just this family that was talking to me, the Sasquatch family. It was like a council of Sasquatch that were talking to me. And I didn't really understand it at the time. And then it evolved into teachings that were Sasquatch as a whole teachings. So it was never a Sasquatch telling me anything or teaching me anything. I'll give you one example. I get these teachings like about brotherly love, and what it means to be one. Okay. So I go to a thrift store. I told this the other day on my show. And a lady came running up. She had seen my Sasquatch videos on YouTube and she knew me, and she was like, oh my God, I just love those. But I just want you to know, the minute you walked in the door, this book fell in my hand, and it was called like The Legend of Bigfoot. It was called, and it was like a kid's primer, you know, kids reading book. Yeah. And she goes, I want you to have it. So she went and paid for it and handed it to me. And I was like, whoa, got in the car and I was like, something's happening, you know? And this was several years ago. And I was doing some inspections of vacation rental properties. So I was driving in the mountains and I didn't know where I was going. So I just put in the coordinates and I was driving, and all of a sudden I came on this mountaintop and I was like, where am I? The hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I was like, whew, this feels like a portal. I can feel it, you know, it just feels like it. And right then, this sign says Panther Valley, and there's a black panther on this sign, huge sign. And I'm like, whoa, that was the gatekeeper. Thank you for letting me in. And I go down the hill, and everywhere I look, on the sides of my car, up high because the mountains were going like this, was filled with buffalo. Buffalo. I didn't know buffalo were in North Carolina. I'm like, I was just so giddy and happy. I was excited, like they were beautiful, gorgeous animals. And I just felt like I was in this portal. And I was like, wow, where's this house? And I was looking at my phone. Where is this house? And I see the house on the hill and I drive up the driveway. It's like a 15-bedroom home, huge mansion. I open the big double doors to the mansion. And the first thing I see is a 500-pound buffalo head, huge buffalo head hanging over the fireplace. And I was just appalled. I just, sadness came over me like, and I just started bawling, crying. I looked out the front door and I looked back at that buffalo and I was like, oh my God. And then I heard the words in my head, which I don't hear very often, but I heard these words from a deep male voice that said, buffalo are our brother. Mm-hmm. And I just went, I am so sorry. On the behalf of humans, I am so sorry. I was so upset. I got on the phone and I called the people that had sent me there. And I said, whose house is this? What is this? And they said, oh, you know, that new keto diet craze with buffalo jerky? That's who owns that house. Epic is the name of the company. And I was like, what? All those buffalo in the yard are going to be jerky meat for a keto diet craze? I was appalled. I cried all the way down the mountain. And as I was leaving the mountain, I heard the voice again, buffalo are our brother. We love them. Oh, yeah. That's the kind of teachings I get. So it happens in real time, in real life. I don't get to just sit down and meditate and think about them and them get me a story. They bring my body and my mind and my emotions and my cells to the place. Yeah. And I get to experience it at a level that upsets me. So I know the validity of it, you know. So then, you know, I understand more about the Sasquatch because they work with me on that kind of level.
Yeah. Did you want to tell us about the, I know you've told it before, but it's so fascinating. When you first got introduced to the Sasquatch, when you went and helped those, you're an intermediary or a go-between between the Sasquatch and these people that were having problems with them?
Yeah, I'll tell you just quickly.
And I'm going to excuse myself for one second.
Sure thing. I got to leave in about 20 minutes or so. I got to pick up a car. My car's in the shop. Anyway, I was called in 2015 by some friends who have a website called Skyships Over Cashiers. They do UFO and Bigfoot researching. And so they called me and said, we need your help. Our guides have said that you're the one to help this family. And I go, what? And they said, well, there's a family that's been run off from their property and they need help. And I said, what from? And they said, Sasquatch. And I went, no, I don't know anything about a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. No, that's not me. You must be thinking of somebody else. And she said, no. Our guide said it was you. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Well, many synchronicities happened that I won't go into now. I, didn't have enough money. I didn't have a place to stay. I was about to move out of my place because I didn't even have rent. I was looking for a job. No one would give me one. Well, that all happened when on the way to that place. I got all those things handed to me: a place to live, a place to stay, a job, and a new apartment. And I didn't even know what town I was in. It was just, I was like, what is happening? So I go to this house and it's apparently all they told me was there was 50 acres of property over in the Highlands Cashiers area of North Carolina, which is highly beautiful. and mountainous. And so there was a house on this property that had pastures, pasture land, and there was a second home on the property that was a small little cottage. And so we're going down the driveway, which is a long, maybe quarter of a mile drive. And on the left are a bunch of caves. On the right's the pasture. We're just driving. Evelyn's in the back seat. Mary's in the front driving. And we kind of saw something out of the corner of our eye, and it was a dog man sitting on the side of the road. And we slammed the brakes on, and I got out of the car, and it was probably sitting about 4.5 feet, 4 feet tall, had pointy ears, pointy snout, black with green eyes, see-through eyes. And all of a sudden, I was like, what in the hell are we looking at? Can I see through this? I could see through it. And all of a sudden, it turned and bounded down the pasture, and it was taking 20-foot strides. Crazy. Then it disappeared right in front of my eyes. And I knew. I said, gatekeeper. He just let us in the gate. And that's all I knew. And I got in the car with them, and they were like, oh, God. I said, that's the gatekeeper. That's the dog man. We just got to go. So here we go. We're driving a little bit. We get to the property. The owners are not there yet. So I decided to go down to where the problem was. The problem was a pond that the owners had jackhammered, and they didn't know that they had jackhammered a hole into a cave under the pond that the Sasquatch lived in. She knew there were Sasquatch on her property every day. She saw them. She kind of communicated with them somewhat, but this pissed them off to the point where that night the Sasquatch had come and put handprints all over the car, screaming, yelling at them, went inside the cars, inside the house or outside the house, to the cottage, the boats, everything on the property. They made it known that y'all had done something wrong here. So this family was scared to death. But anyway, I walked down to the pond, and as I walked down there, I didn't know the backstory, much. I just knew that this pond had messed up and that something had happened. Well, it was because when I walked down to the woods, I could feel the interdimensional space change again, like time space gets wonky. And as that happened, I was saying in my mind, I'm here to help you. I'm here as a mediator. Please tell me what's wrong. I'll try to relay the information to this family. And I got the whole story, like a whole big volume of a book, slammed into my brain in seconds, milliseconds, however that happens. So mind speak happens in no time, no space. So I knew the whole story. I knew it in my mind. I knew it like intellectually. I knew it emotionally. So I was like pissed off. I was scared. I was angry, all at the same time. And so I said, thank you very much. They gave me a couple messages. I went back up and talked to the family. They came in finally. Guy had a shotgun and a gun on his hip because they were afraid to be on that property. And I told him, I said, that's where the Sasquatch were living. You busted into their house, because I could see in my mind's eye the Flintstone house, the room that they lived in, the leaves that they put on there to lay on. I could see it. And so I was really upset that they had ruined these people's house, these Sasquatch people's house. And they were like, oh no, we didn't know that's what happened. And I said, well, the Sasquatch asked me to ask you, what did you take of theirs? And they said, oh no. And they brought me to inside the kitchen door, or the dining room, living room, whatever, opened it up, and the whole place was filled with rocks they had taken from the cave. These were rocks shaped like faces, owls. I call them artifacts because they felt like artifacts. And so I told him, I said, And then I said, well, the Sasquatch told me that they gave you something. What did they give you? And she went, how do you know? And she went over and she had this little burlap piece that had pennies in it and a little car. And it was just like not a thank you, but a we're sorry gift from the Sasquatch to the owner. And it happened 2 years later. That gift only happened a week before I got there. I didn't know that in the first interview, but you can hear that whole interview. It's quite intricate. I talk about all the details, but I did go upstairs because the Sasquatch did gain entrance into their home, and they went upstairs. They got into the little girl's room, and they took a communion dress and laid it on the table downstairs on the sofa, back of the sofa, and put red mud prints on it. So I felt like they had harmed one of the babies because there were 2 babies. I knew that there were 3 adults and 2 babies. And she showed me pictures of the 2 babies being carried by a gray ET across the pasture each day.
That's a great story.
9 a.m. and 5 a.m. p.m. like a babysitter.
The gray aliens were carrying the babies and taking care of them.
I saw it with my own eyes. These pictures, she showed them she had a flip phone with pictures, and she had an old computer that she showed me all these little thumbnails, there were hundreds of them.
She had pictures, actual pictures of that?
She had been taking pictures for years.
She had a picture of an ET carrying a Sasquatch.
Absolutely.
Baby. Oh, wow.
She is afraid for her life. She will never share that with anybody. She got burnt by one of the rocks she took. It burned her hand internally because it was a radioactive rock.
Oh my God.
So she ended up in the hospital. And so she was afraid to even tell us about the Sasquatch. You know, she finally told Mary after years of knowing Mary. And then Mary said, I think we have someone can help you. And so I taught them how to go back to that land. And I taught them how to give forgiveness, ask for forgiveness. And so they did, and everything stopped. But they never went back to that property because it had just become in such shambles over 2 years. They ended up moving down the mountains away, and the Sasquatch found them there. So they asked me to come back about a month later because they thought they had found a Sasquatch graveyard. And so they asked me to show them how they would approach it, if it were, and how they should approach any area up there. So I kind of went up there with them and showed them. Was it
a Sasquatch graveyard?
You know, it very well could have been. They were kind of like megaliths. You know, they were big chunks of rock put together, definitely put together. And they were in big, huge mounds back into the side of the slope. So they were a big chunk.
Why did they come to that conclusion, I wonder? Why did they think it was? Any idea?
I don't know. It felt ancient and felt honorable, but it didn't feel like any Sasquatch visited it or came there. I don't know why they thought that, but I guess it's just because they found megaliths there.
So you have to leave in what?
In about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm gonna have to go.
Oh, okay. Well,
I used to live in North Carolina. I lived in Winston-Salem. How far away is all this stuff going on from Winston-Salem?
That's probably about 3-4 hours, maybe 3-4. There's a lot of activity
more towards the middle.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of activity in the Uwharrie. It's called the Uwharrie Forest, Uwarrie. There's a lot of activity in the Uwharrie, and that's it's like a hot, flatter area. But I'm up here in these mountains, and especially this location I'm going to now to set up this camp. We talked to people on the other side of the mountain the other day that had Sasquatch all over their property, and they own a little goat farm. And so they told us all about the Sasquatch, you know, messing with the goats, taking goats, stealing goats. And so they got big Pyrenees dogs, Great Pyrenees dogs, and to, you know, help out with the situation. But the Great Pyrenees only just whimper and cry when the Sasquatch are around. So that didn't help. So they had to get electric fencing. That's how they kept the Sasquatch from stealing their goats. So then he got smart and started, if a goat would pass, he would give them the body of the goat. And he had a special place. Well, this lady drove through the mountains to work at her job every day, way remote. And she must have had, I don't know how many times she told us she had maybe eight or 10 sightings of them on the road. Now, so did her husband on the road. And because she worked like a third shift or something. So she was driving at night, early in the morning, and they would see him all over the road. So they had a different experience. They don't have a spiritual connection. They don't think they're interdimensional at all. He's got a radio show about them. So I'm, what I'm doing with my little thing on YouTube called Sasquatch Friends is I'm trying to bridge the gap between the spiritual side and the non-spiritual side. And can we just talk about the interactions and without an expert, telling us something? I really am kind of sick of experts. So I want the experts to be everyday people, because that's who's having the interactions now.
I mean, you don't like me anymore? I'm joking.
No, I love you because you're not an expert.
Oh, I'm not? Excuse me? No, I'm just joking.
No, I think you're an expert in your own mind. I do.
That's what. Well, that's what the pork and bean show is all about, is to try to get people who are friends or having interactions with the Sasquatch. With that, you know, and we've been lucky. We got this is our 3rd year, and
y'all are doing great with it. So all I'm doing with mine, because there's so many people doing these things, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So I'm trying to do something just a little bit different, and it's I'm just coming on, and just like anybody can come in the chat room and talk. And we can chat together, because I have a special live streaming thing that I can do that I learned. So I'm doing live streaming where the chat is there. We can interact. I can answer questions. And then there's a button that someone could click, and they can actually come on live with me right then. Anybody in the audience.
How sweet is that?
Yeah, it's really cool. No one's done it yet. Like, everybody's too scared. So this is only going to be my gathering number 3 tomorrow. So we'll see if anybody will come on. Maybe y'all will come on.
I got to figure out when you're on and whatever. I'm always seem to be out, or I just see that you just posted something, or I'll try.
I'm on noon tomorrow. So, but anyway, I'm going to be doing it at different times. But my biggest thing is I want to be up on that mountain filming, and myself, like, I'm a single solo camper. Glamper. I am not much into camping much. My body can't do it. So I'm going to be glamping up there, and I'll be setting up my thing.
Well, they got some big tents. You big.
Well, I just had a donation of a big
Chase lounge in there, and
well, I just had a donation of a big tent. I don't have any. See, the thing when this happened, I have no camping equipment, y'all. Nothing. I had 0, and it was like, the Sasquatch want me to do what? You want me to be on a mountain? And so, I'm taking donations, for my camping equipment, so people can come on and, send me a donation for camping equipment. That's kind of fun. But
so I live in Savannah. I wonder how long that would be to drive up there. Probably be like 12 hours. Probably.
No, you're in Savannah, Georgia?
Yeah. Well, I guess if you went up 95, that would get me up into North Carolina, but then you'd have to go from 95 all the way over to wherever.
No, actually, you'd cut through, if you can cut through Charlotte and just come up, or Columbia,
right,
South Carolina, South Carolina, and shoot straight over up into Western North Carolina.
So
don't go to the middle of the state.
2-lane road, or is it like they actually got 4-lane roads?
No, there's 4 lanes.
Well, beans.
So in that case, it'd probably be less than 8 hours.
Beans.
Because from where I live, to get to Clayton, Georgia, which is right up there between Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina, it took me 8 hours to get there, because just the roads are, first of all, it's a pretty long way, but then the roads are just slow.
Yeah.
The Sasquatch already taught you to go invisible, your leg. I mean, you're just 1 or 2 steps away from just teleporting, or just picking it, and you'll be there.
That would be great. I just got to intend it.
Yeah, but you can't take your tent and stuff, or your camper or whatever.
See, it's so steep. The property's so steep, I can't walk it to even get my camping stuff up there. And, there's not really much activity going on at the bottom of the property. It's all happening at the top. So a friend donated the ATV, and then another friend donated the tent, and then I've got people that donated bedding, and then so it's happening, I've been hitting
You're
thrift
gonna get
shops.
somebody going to volunteer that'll show you, that'll be able to do the work of like clearing out some primitive, what they call primitive camping, because
Actually, it's already
you
been
don't want
done.
structures, you want primitive stuff.
Well, this has already been done. Apparently, the person that they bought this from had the idea of doing Airbnb campsites
Hmm.
on this mountain. So they actually had put in 9 campsites, flat with cedar shavings, perfect.
Perfect.
And they made little rocks for tables, flat rocks for tables. It's perfect. So it's just waiting for me. It's just,
So they all got little fire pits or something.
yeah, they all got fire pits, and I'm going to be videotaping it and showing everybody what I'm doing. And it's
Wow.
so much
Yeah.
fun. Like I would have followed someone doing this,
I want to come up there just because I don't ever go to the woods. I need to go someplace where you can drive up and then within give you a 10-minute walk,
yeah, well,
Can you drive up to the actual sites, or do you have to?
only if you have 4-wheel drive. So the
Oh,
only way I can get up to them is with the ATV, and I can put someone on the back of the ATV if they're,
There you go, Beans. You'd be
agile.
hanging off the back.
I'll put
well,
you on the
I
back.
need a tent too, tent and sleeping bags.
Well, no, I'm
and
actually going to work it out.
Refrigerator and
I'm going to work. I'm going to work it out where I'm going to have a second tent put up. Someone's already gifted me a small second tent, so I'll have a whole little setup. It just have to ask about the owners, and how agreeable they are about that, because they're going to put up a campsite too, and I think they will with like-minded people. Love for us to have people there.
You got to do that, Beans, and then you can come back and have a Pork and Beans exclusive as to what you experienced up there.
Well, we got to see, we don't know much about these Sasquatch yet, other than that they knew I was coming, and that, the synchronicities brought that place to me. But I believe that footprint was definitely a calling card, like a welcoming gift. And so there's no telling what's going to happen up there, but I'm going to be camping up there by myself.
And you haven't had any growls or rocks thrown at you, or bluff charges.
No, I've had lots of rocks thrown at me though, and they're always like little love pats. They're little cute little rocks.
No. They're yeah, exactly.
That's
they're high
rocks.
The high we hear.
The baseball size ones are the ones that like, get out of here.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Every rock I've ever had is just a little rock tossed over my head or on the path in front of me, and it's just simply a hi, we're here. Yeah. But you know what? From my non-expert opinion, I'm just playing off that. I think that track is an introduction and a welcome for you to go up there. So I think they're very receptive of it, is what I'm feeling and what I'm picking up. So I think it'll all be good.
I did a little video of it, and I have a friend who likes to, pick apart the videos and find the faces. I'm not good at that stuff, but he did that. And one place where I took a picture of this mushroom. It was a chicken of the woods, a big, huge chicken of the woods up there. And he saw 3 faces behind it. Now, they weren't shaped like Sasquatch faces. They were small, little, narrow faces with eyes and mouth. It's almost like the consciousness of little people, fairies. I mean, I got little people energy there big time. I asked the owners, I was there, and I said, what's going on right here in this this stream right here? Like, all I can feel is the hair, like slinging back their hair, like they wash here. And I said, I feel little people here. She goes, well, I felt little people here too, but this is where I wash my hair. I was like, okay, well, there's that. But it's really going to be an interesting, fun thing for me, I think. And I think, a 60-year-old, woman out camping by herself in Sasquatch land is a little bit unique. And so I think,
what about Barbara Shoup? I mean, she's just has 8 or 10 friends come up to her properties.
Does she?
Yeah, and she's famous, and she's one of the first ones who got a picture of a cloaking Sasquatch, and it was really amazing. So
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I'll have to look at that. I haven't.
Actually, she came up here, and I hosted her group in BC one time here, and it was unbelievable.
Oh, I bet.
Unbelievable. Well, every time that I have one of those camp house because the Sasquatch initiate it and they tell me who they want to come energetically. They'll just connect me with them.
Yeah.
They'll say, yes, energetically, they'll nudge me, this person, whatever. But, you know, those people had, that one was really, really great. Yeah. There was about
That's so
three
awesome.
sightings and
You're
a bunch of
really close
healing.
to you're really close to the Tennessee border, right?
I'm super close to the Tennessee border.
Yeah,
I'm
well, you
on
got
the,
Matthew Delph. He's a friend of mine, and he just lives over in Tennessee, and he would probably come over and give you a visit or stomp around.
yeah, I'm
with
trying
you.
not to open it up to the world right now because it's not my
Right.
property. And the people are being really, we're being very quiet about it.
Well, they want you to they want to get your report on what's going on out there.
No.
So
Yeah.
Now, excuse me for maybe I didn't hear exactly, but what exactly do these people, they invited you, what do they want you to exactly do up there again?
Just commune. Just commune with them. Just learn about them. Find out about them.
Is that because they want to find out?
Because they want to know.
Too?
Yeah, because they want the introduction. This is her new adventure. And he in his lifetime, like, idea was that he could meet a Bigfoot because he learned about them when he was little and he was fascinated with them. He has some fear. He has some fear that he'll have to overcome.
You see, that's not a coincidence.
No,
it's not a coincidence. He's always been fascinated and wanted to meet them. This is exactly what the fruition of that want is.
Yep. And his wife, they're not married yet, but his wife is so open because she's done the crop circle thing and the porpoise thing. And she's been so guided by time and non-space that it's a real energetic alignment going on up there with this place. And,
oh, yeah.
And so I just feel it
sounds real magical.
Well, for me, it's pure magic, the way it's happened. It's hard to describe it, in 2 seconds to people, like how it all came about, but through synchronicity and understanding, I don't know, there's a lot of alignment to get me on that mountain and I'm not sure why. So I'm just kind of going with it and I want to share it with people. I don't want to just do like other people have done, is just go and take their own research information. I'm not researching them.
No,
I'm not researching anything.
You don't research your friends.
No, I'm just going to make new friends because obviously they invited me.
Yeah.
So that's what's really exciting.
That's why a lot of these researchers don't get much because they don't want to be researched. They want to be friends. They want to be friends.
You can spend the whole summer up there. It's cooler up in the mountains.
Oh, it's 10 degrees cooler up there than down. Even I'm in the mountains. But this is even higher elevation, so it's about a 10-degree difference. So I'm gonna have to
get there. You better get up there, Beans.
Yep, I'm gonna
gas would only be about $200 round trip.
Yeah, that's why I need donations, is to get there and back sometimes, just to gas to get there.
Get a GoFundMe going, Beans. GoFundMe to go up there.
To go to Sasquatch land. I'm calling it Sass land.
I got all my money tied up in the federal government. They give me a little stipend once a month.
Mm-hmm, I know how that is. Well, we'll work out something, but it really is. It's such an awesome time to tell people what you've got going on with Sasquatch, because so many people everywhere have got something going on. It's pretty amazing that people who have them in their backyards and have them nearby, and Brian, you can get out there and be in the woods with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've lived vicariously through you and other people for years because I didn't have that available to me here. That just wasn't happening. There were no Sasquatch around us here.
A question for you. So Sasquatch and whatever, I mean, they're part of the awakening. They're contacting us, people who are open to it, to teach them, to awaken them, universal truths, love, no judgment, no fear, no division, all that kind of stuff. But do you think a lot of this stuff has been going, is it because of what's going on today, or do you think a lot of this stuff was going on for a long, long time, but it was just because of the internet and that people can talk and exchange ideas and their experiences, it's more known now. Or is it? Yeah.
Well, I have to think that that may be true. And the reason is because all the native stories of them communing with them bartering with them, they were part of their life. And then
Yeah.
something must have happened over the industrialized nation.
White man
that-
came in and they
Yep.
said,
And-
we don't want nothing to do with these guys. Yeah.
Right. Because we don't
Yeah.
want anything to do with interdimensionality. We
Well-
want the humans to be very far away from that information. So I feel like now it's partly that we have this access, internet access with immediate information, but part of it is I feel this almost rush from the beings of Sasquatch to come into our lives. It's almost like it seems like it's time.
Yeah.
I called it a phenomenon a couple of years ago, and I still feel that way.
I
feels
do
like-
think that I think that both things are true. I definitely think they're here because it's the time that we're supposed to wake up and whatever. And as far as the First Nations thing goes, well, they lived on the land. They respected nature. And so they're very much along the lines of what the Sasquatch do and how they feel. So they were kind of like kindred spirits, so they did have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's also about waking us up at this particular time too. I feel so.
Well, waking us up by showing us that someone who believes that an animal who steals their goats could possibly be interdimensional. So there's, the understanding of the truth of their being and the truth of our being is being exposed.
Yeah. And I'm talking also waking us up to the fact that we're not just,
Yes.
we're not like single individuals. We're part of a collective. We don't have to listen to the lies, the program lies. We're not, teaching us about no judgment, no fear, no division, all those things that will bring us up to raise our, or however you want to say it, bring us up to a different state of being or whatever. And that's what I think the transition shift is understanding, breaking free of these shackles and these lies that we've been programmed with, like generation over generation over generation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it just feels like there's a rush to it, a rush, not from us humans, but from the Sasquatch side. It feels a rush to get their understanding known.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
I think that's
critical.
why the compassionate nature of them, or the kind nature, which is what I'm advocating, of course, on my show, is a kind, compassionate contact, is a foreign concept for a lot of people. And so that's why, bridging this idea between the woo, and groundedness in some way, so that we can all come together with the understanding that they are sentient beings.
I did a little survey on one of the groups, Sasquatch believers or something, whatever. I forget what the name of the group is, but anyway, they have 70,000 members.
Mm.
And I said, okay, 70,000 members. How many people in this group are friends with Sasquatch, or feel like they're family, or have a spiritual connection to Sasquatch? Well, you know how it goes with timelines, with the timeline. So it was only up for a couple of days. But in the end, I got 11. I got 11 people out of,
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's not very many compared to 70,000.
No.
There's only
Well,
11 people that are feeling spiritually connected. But I think that just has to be but there's other groups like Pork and Beans and the Spiritual Sasquatch and Sasquatch Ambassadors. All those people have a higher probability of being friends.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can go out and buy all the best equipment, all the best game cams, night vision, all these different things to try to investigate Sasquatch. And you know what's going to get you more success and all of that money spent and all that, those hours and all that approach? Hi, I'm Brian. I would like to meet you.
Yep.
And mean it from your heart. You're going to get you're going to get to know them on a way deeper level than these guys who are going around chasing monkeys in the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that's what, we get what we put out, right? So I'm putting out that I want to know the interdimensional side of these beings. And that's what's shown to me. And it's not in my mind. It's because it's actually real. In reality, it happens. And so I think that bringing our spiritualness to reality is what's happening. The highest version of us, where everything used to happen in our minds with deities and on a certain plane where we would feel this bliss and da 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 da. We have to like bring that into our body now and have that experience right here on Earth. And Sasquatch can sure assist you in that.
Oh yeah. So all these, I know you have to go, but
yeah, I do.
But just quickly, which never, just cut us off when you have. But these deities, like who did you have visit you? Like Buddha, Christ, people like that? Or
I had I had Catholic deities. I had a lot of archangels, and they would come with a message or come with a story. But then I had the most profound one was Zoroaster. Now, I can't go into the whole story of it because I don't have time. But when Zoroaster came, it was like I was singing to my plants. I was just watering my plants and singing to my plants, and I made a portal open by accident. I didn't know I was doing it. And this being came in. I could feel it. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it. And it said, "I'm here for Zoroaster." And I thought he said, "I'm here from Zoroaster." And I went, "Well, what planet is that? I never heard of that planet. Like, did I invite you? I didn't invite you here. Like, you need to go now." And he said, "You open the portal, do that same time tomorrow for Zoroaster." I don't even know what that means.
I do. Holy
So the
cow.
next morning I go and do it for Zoroaster, and Zoroaster comes and tells me a whole story of how compassion was on the earth and then how it left the earth.
So before Beans gets into his holy cow, did you have to get rid of them because is this what I'm taking? Because you have to do stuff from the inside. It's an inside job, right? And they're outside.
That's right.
Is that the reason?
And because remember you asked me earlier, are we bringing our higher selves? Well, are we bringing the energy of one deity, or are we bringing our higher self consciousness? It's a totally different thing. You can have, like, I had a real keen connection with Kuan Yin, still do. And through Chinese people that I was with in Toronto, and her whole consciousness came to me as a compassion teaching. And so this understanding of Kuan Yin within me and the connection of that helped me understand compassion for myself. But also I understood my place with that's one version of the consciousness of me.
Yeah.
I need to bring in the Archangel Michael consciousness, and all that other has to happen too. You are the mishmash of things. So I didn't want to channel any information that was outside of me. That's why I kind of shut it down. But these teachings, that last teaching from Zoroaster was probably the biggest teaching.
Did you know Mr. Beans is part of the Inside Out team?
Inside Out team.
Yeah. Hey, why didn't why am I not on that poster, by the way?
What poster?
There's an Inside Out poster, and Beans is on it, but I'm not on there. I'm wondering what the heck's going on.
Because you don't know that you're not known on the stratosphere. But Zoroaster, did you ever look up Zoroaster?
Yeah, I did afterwards. Yeah, I sure did. That was right on. Zoroaster is like Christ consciousness.
Yeah, and it was like the largest religion. It was 6,000 years before the Ramayana, before Judaism, and all that, and it influenced all of them. Mm-hmm. So it was amazing. It influenced the Egyptians. It influenced the Thor and the Nordics. It influenced the Greeks and the Italians. As a matter of fact, it was one of the main religions of Rome when Christians kind of started infiltrating. So it's all connected. And there's heavy duty, and it was also part of the Buddhism. Buddhism came out of that, so it was a big deal.
What was your question now, Beans, or your comment? Hopefully you forgot it, but I'm just joking. Because you always do that to me.
I was just saying, holy cow.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then you had something to add to that, didn't you?
He just did.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't think those two were.
Zoroaster.
I think you just opened a portal to yourself, Brian. Where did you go? Knock, knock. Oh, anyway.
Your time is gonna come.
It is. I gotta go now. So it's almost been. Yeah.
Hey, now wait. Now, hang on 1 second. And I'm not. And this isn't a trick. But will you come back? Because this is the shortest show we've ever done. So we have to have a part 2 with you.
You know, I know that about you guys. I've seen some of those shows where y'all are
4 hours.
4 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't.
I know. I mean, people have to go to
long.
therapy afterwards. They have to go to therapy.
Yeah, they have to go to therapy after 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do, Bean. So then you're trying to roast up some business.
So maybe this is your new format. Like 1 hour, be done. It's actually not been 1 hour. It's been 2.
Close to 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
But Brian has an addiction, so he always try to milk the cow.
I don't know.
Yes, I will come back. I will come back
Yeah.
for sure. I will come
I'm
back.
ready.
And
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
coming to the
you guys
Pork and Bean
asking me to come
Show.
on. It's always good to come on here with you guys.
And everybody go over and see her. What's the name of your channel on?
My channel is called Cindy Solene Carter
Cindy
S-O-
Solene Carter on YouTube.
on YouTube.
Well, send me the link for tomorrow's show, and I'll try
Okay,
to
I
get
will.
on there.
Yep.
Okay.
And yep, I would love for that.
I'll try to if I'm not meeting my wife. It depends on if I'm meeting her.
Well,
tomorrow.
that's more important for sure.
It is more important, of
Did you
course.
say
Yes.
you're beating
But-
your wife? Why would you
That's-
beat your wife?
Well, I mean, I'm a throwback.
To the mosh pit days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flash pit.
Mhm.
All right. So you have to go. Okay. So on behalf, and I'm
I have
going
to go pick up my car.
on behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, the guru of love, Frank Oliver Beans.
Oliver Beans.
This has been the
Beans.
Pork and Beans Show, and we're very, very grateful and honored to have Cindy Carter as our guest today. And thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome. And if you guys you don't want to just let me go off, you can just keep talking and have your 2 hours.
No, we don't like to listen to
no.
each other.
Oh,
No,
okay. It doesn't
we
work
did
that
that.
way.
We did that for the last show and it was all right. But no, I'm actually hungry.
Okay, well, good. This is your cue to go eat.
So happy
All right.
camping. Happy camping.
Yeah. I'm going to be
Connect-
camping up there in 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm
For
excited.
how long you're going to camp? For 1 or 2 days, or for a
I'm
month?
gonna try to camp for 2 days the first time. Just make sure I got everything I need, and I'm sure I'll be filling in the blanks with stuff. And I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of trips up the mountain with the ATV, with all the stuff. So we'll see how far I get.
It's going to be magical. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It'll be
Thank you very
magical up
much. I can't wait
Yeah.
to share it.
All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I love you slow, don't you know? I want the old blade. All the buttons coming down, taking my time. Hot it high, hot it high, hot it high. For the tummy, oh my, love a big old plate of pork and beans. Goody, 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 goody. Love it, love it, love it. In the tummy. Love baby, love hard. Love ooh, love why. I love me some bowling wine. Don't you know you gotta need that feed. You got to have some pork and bean. Pork and bean. I'm gonna holler, yo, mashed potato, oh, Have a now, don't wait for later. By the tide